Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving into the life, the sheer resilience, and the recent passing of a woman who literally laid the blueprint for one of the most famous families on the planet. We're talking about Mary Jo Shannon, but you, like millions of others, probably just know her affectionately as MJ.
So on July 16, 2026, literally just days before what would have been her 92nd birthday, Kris Jenner shared this absolutely heartbreaking tribute to announce her mother's passing at age 91. You can really feel the grief here. Kris calls her mom the heart of their family, writing that there are just no words to ever truly capture what she meant to her, or the profound heartbreak of saying goodbye.
Now, if you follow pop culture, you've probably seen MJ on reality TV as this beloved, super witty, and calming grandmother. But before the cameras were ever rolling, who was the woman that instilled such fierce resilience and razor-sharp business savvy into the Kardashian-Jenner empire? Well, to really understand this dynasty, we have to look at the matriarch behind the matriarch.
Section 1. Beating cancer twice, the definition of resilience.
To get a real sense of this family's famous toughness, you first have to look at the sheer scale of what MJ overcame health-wise. This incredible woman was a two-time cancer survivor. She actually battled and beat both breast and colon cancer. It's this quiet, enduring resilience that her family constantly points to as their absolute core strength. Whenever they hit a crisis, they look at MJ's survival as living proof of the grit in their DNA.
And you know that fight was incredibly grueling. Kim Kardashian actually talked about this on their show, recalling how the intense radiation treatments took a massive physical toll on MJ over the years. The radiation actually shrunk her intestines, causing these agonizing yearly bouts of illness where she'd be throwing up all night. But she pushed through all of it. She survived, she adapted, and she showed her family firsthand exactly how to face the toughest challenges imaginable with total grace.
Section 2. Shaping a Business Empire. Shannon and Company.
So that same fighting spirit we just talked about, it's seamlessly transitioned into her professional life, laying the very groundwork for what would become multi-billion-dollar ventures. Born in Arkansas back in 1934, MJ eventually made her way out to California. In 1980, she and her third husband, Harry Shannon, opened a kids' clothing boutique in La Jolla called Shannon and Company, and she ran that shop for over 4 decades. Long before her family was dominating global retail and cosmetics, MJ was out there running a neighborhood business, setting this amazing example of female entrepreneurship.
But here's the really cool part. This shop wasn't just a business for MJ. It was a literal training ground for the next generation. MJ herself remembered her grandkids growing up and playing in that very store. She specifically recalled a young Kim Kardashian sitting right there on the boutique floor, counting the store's cash. It is wild to think about the seeds of an absolute empire being planted on the floor of a small children's boutique in San Diego.
And actually, this boutique is exactly where the ultimate momager was forged. When MJ's husband Harry tragically passed away from car accident complications in 2003, MJ seriously considered closing up shop. But Kris Jenner stepped right in to keep the doors open. Managing Shannon and Company is widely considered to be the exact environment where Kris honed those legendary retail and management instincts, the very same instincts she'd used to build and define her family's massive success later on.
Section 3. The Mother of 6. Family Dynamics and Heartbreak.
Now, business and resilience are huge lessons, right? But nothing mattered more to MJ than family, even as she navigated the incredible ups and downs of her own romantic life. MJ was married 3 times. And honestly, what fans always loved most about her was how she kept the sharp, playful wit about her romantic history over the years. She never hid from her past. She totally owned it with a brilliant sense of humor.
In fact, this is definitely one of my favorite moments. In a classic reality TV exchange back in 2017, MJ actually compared her own brief first marriage, which happened right out of high school before she realized she wanted something else, to Kim's infamous 72-day marriage to Kris Humphries. She used her own life experience to offer this great moment of levity and perspective for her granddaughter, right when the whole world was watching.
She did, of course, go on to find a beautiful, lasting love with her third husband, Harry Shannon, and they spent 40 years together. MJ truly became the ultimate matriarch. Biologically, she had 2 daughters, Kris and Karen, but she was so deeply involved in raising her grandchildren that she earned the informal title of Mother of 6 to Kourtney, Kim, Khloe, Rob, Kendall, and Kylie. And by the time of her passing, that incredible legacy had grown to include 13 great-grandchildren.
But we also have to acknowledge that her final years carried some profound grief. In March of 2024, MJ endured the completely unexpected and heartbreaking loss of her younger daughter Karen, who died of cardiac arrest at 65.
Karen had actually spent years living with MJ down in San Diego. It's just a devastating reality that MJ spent the final 2 years of her very long life grieving the loss of her own child.
Section 4. A lasting legacy. The true matriarch.
So, why does the life and passing of this 91-year-old grandmother matter so much to millions of pop culture fans today? Why does her story resonate so deeply? Well, because as Kris Jenner so beautifully put it in her tribute, the foundation of this entire global family dynasty is a direct reflection of MJ herself. Kris wrote, "When I look at my kids and my grandkids, I will forever see pieces of you in all of us. That unconditional love, the ability to find joy in the little things, the intense resilience to survive health crises and massive public scrutiny, and that fierce loyalty, all of that is Mary Jo Shannon."
And that leaves us with a pretty fascinating thought to wrap up this explainer. Looking at MJ's story, we kind of have to ask ourselves, how much of the success, the strength, and the resilience in our own lives is actually just a blueprint handed down from the matriarchs who came before us? What pieces of your own family history are actively shaping your future right now?